Dear Chosen One, this energy surrounding you is not new. What you are feeling is not just spiritual discomfort, it is the reverberation of an ancient pact that was broken without ceremony. And now those who fed on this alliance are in desperation. You were chosen to carry a light that they tried to dilute for generations. And no matter how much they used familiar faces, sweet words, and falsely affectionate bonds, you were never theirs. And now, when they realized there is no more access, that your energy has closed off and become sacred, they began sending others in their place. Substitutes, spiritual puppets, pawns who don't even know what they carry. But you know, because when what comes to you is not whole, you know it is a copy. But before we move forward, I have a call for you. Write the number 777 down in the comments below to manifest to the universe that you are blocked from falsities and ready to intervene. Take this moment and leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to stay up to date. Don't forget to share this video with those who also need this message. You need to understand, this type of persecution doesn't begin with hate. It starts with need. It starts with the attempt to contain you, to turn your light into something manageable, manipulable, drainable. And when that fails, when you continue growing, expanding, awakening, love turns into frustration, and frustration turns into fury. And that's why what once looked at you with adoration now observes you with resentment. What once tried to protect you today wants to capture you. They wanted to save themselves through you, Chosen One. But you were not born to be the bridge of redemption for those who refuse to change. And that's why now the game has shifted. The energy that haunts you is no longer theirs. It is a nameless shadow that wears any face to try to approach you. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. About the fall. About what happens when a soulmate surrenders to spiritual parasitism. About what happens when a spiritual mother loses her throne and tries to take it back by infiltrating the new generation. You will understand why certain people are being used against you, even without knowing it. You will understand why the persecution increased after you said no, and why now, more than ever, they need you to not see who you are, but you already have seen. And there's no going back. Stay until the end. Because this is not just any message, it's a call, and it won't wait for you to be distracted again. They didn't know that by trying to contain you, they would awaken you. Because what you carry cannot be subdued, only revealed at the right time. And when they realized that containment wasn't working, they started to turn the game. If they couldn't possess you, they would try to infiltrate. If they couldn't love you, they would mark you with a silent obsession. It began with sweet words, long looks, whispered promises from souls that seemed familiar, but there was already distortion. There was already the spirit of someone who wanted your light not to share, but to retain. And when you refused to be imprisoned, the fall began. This entity didn't start as an enemy. It was, in some way, someone who truly saw you. And that's what makes it all more dangerous. Because spiritual recognition is real. The bond is real. The connection is real. But what came after was corruption. It couldn't accept that you were free. It couldn't stand that you were bigger than the role it wanted to assign you. And it was at this point that the soulmate turned predator. When it saw that your light didn't bend, and that your essence couldn't be drained with charm, sex, or promises, it stopped trying to have you and started trying to bring you down. Since then, this energy has been following you. Not with the same face, not with the same name, but with the same scent. The scent of the frustration of someone who tried to be your salvation and failed. The scent of someone who wanted to be your root, but only knew how to drain. And when it realized you no longer responded, that your energy was now sealed and protected, it began entering other bodies. And you feel this. New people that appear, but bring old sensations. People you've never seen, but who cause you the same discomfort. This is not paranoia. This is spiritual tracking. They try to find you by the echo you left in their field. And because they can no longer reach you directly, they now try to send substitutes. Broken people, vulnerable people, people who don't even know they're being used. They were chosen because they were easy to manipulate, and they were convinced they would be spiritually protected if they took on the mission. But they were deceived. And now they carry the energy that would be used against you, as if they were distorted mirrors, infected versions of your story. They're trying to rebuild the broken link through third parties. But the pact was made with you, and only you can break or allow it. The cruelest part of all of this is that these sent ones often don't know what they carry. But you know, your body feels it. Your spirit reacts. You start to feel dizzy around them. Your emotions swing for no reason. Your nights become restless. You try to ignore it, rationalize it, tell yourself it's just fatigue. But the presence doesn't lie. The discomfort is not psychological. It's energetic. And that's what they want, for you to doubt yourself. Because if you disbelieve your own perception, they gain passage. They don't need to convince you. They just need you to hesitate. And all of this started with the rejection of a lineage that despised its own maternal source, its spiritual root, its divine inheritance. They wanted power without initiation. They wanted authority without sacrifice. They wanted light without renunciation. And because that is not possible, they were rejected by their own ancestors. And when they realized that you were the bearer of what they lost, they began to persecute you, not because you hurt them, but because you remind them of what they chose to abandon. Your existence is a mirror of their shame. That's why they want you silenced, small, disconnected. But now it's too late. You have already seen yourself. You have already heard yourself. And this drives them crazy, because they can't deceive you with masks anymore. They can't use shallow spiritual promises anymore. They can't keep you bound with unconscious pacts. Your light now has consciousness, and consciousness is the only thing that control cannot withstand. What you're experiencing is not a personal attack. It's a reaction to your awakening. It's the desperation of the shadow that realized you've broken out of the cycle. And now, all that's left for them is to try to destroy the reflection of what you have become. They are trying to use the remnants of you against yourself. They are using memories, traumas, fragments that once were part of your pain to try to rebuild a bond that no longer exists. They're trying to invoke your past as a weapon. But what they don't realize is that that version of you is already dead. What they have now is just the carcass of what you were. A delayed image, a hologram that no longer holds the frequency of your presence. And still, they insist. Because obsession is blind. And those who feed on your old light don't know what to do with the new one. The entity that started all of this believed it could win by volume. If it couldn't conquer you with seduction, it would defeat you by exhaustion. And that's how it began calling for reinforcements. Not warriors, but the wounded, tired souls, empty spirits. People who had no mission of their own, and so they accepted living within someone else's distorted mission. They didn't know they were being dragged into a war that wasn't theirs. But they accepted the call. And now they carry the pain of someone who no longer has form, only hunger. Hunger for light. Hunger for control. Hunger for you. And like every hunger that is never satisfied, this one turned into desperation. That's why you feel the siege. That's why the attacks seem to come from all directions at once. That's why everything got more intense. Because now it's personal. It's no longer about influencing you. It's about stopping you. They don't want to manipulate your path anymore. They want you to stop walking. They want to paralyze your spirit, slow down your progress, sow doubts and distractions in your field. And they do this subtly. Nothing scandalous. Just that sequence of strange people, incoherent situations, small but recurring confusions. And the most dangerous thing is that all of this seems normal. Because the trap was designed to be discreet, to seem like routine, to seem like coincidence. But you feel it's not. You feel there's something wrong. That there are people staring too much. That there are people speaking too little. That there are familiar faces, but energies that don't match. And this discomfort is your gift. It's your warning. It's your spiritual sensitivity screaming that this is not just social. It's war. A silent war where the enemy smiles, but wounds you in the invisible. And behind all of this is the shadow of that fallen soulmate. It couldn't withstand the collapse of its own identity, because you were the last link of meaning it had. And when you freed yourself, it saw itself, and what it saw was emptiness. A being built around control, access, attachment. And without you, it collapsed. Not because of you, but because of your freedom, and that it will never forgive. That's why it hunts you. That's why it hides behind others. That's why it wants to break you. Because your victory represents the final death of the illusion it created about itself. But now, this energy is facing something it never expected: spiritual judgment. It was rejected by its original lineage. And now, trying to infiltrate yours, it was rejected again. Because your lineage recognizes falsehoods. Your inheritance has eyes. Your light has a voice. And the ancestors who guide you have seen this trick before. They know what a parasite is. And what you carry is an ancient memory of liberation. You are reactivating codes that have been dormant for generations. That's why the attack. That's why the panic. Because you are the living reminder that lies have an end. And in this process, even people from your own family can become accomplices of the enemy. Not by declared malice, but by cowardice, convenience, or spiritual neediness. Some saw your light and wanted to steal it. Others noticed your progress and tried to slow you down. Some simply chose the side of whoever seemed stronger and aligned with the shadow, believing it would guarantee security, comfort, or influence. But now, everything is being revealed. And what was once disguise has turned into evidence. The betrayal came from within. But you remain standing. Chosen one, this pain you feel is not punishment. It's clairvoyance. You are picking up the echoes of generations that silenced their own truth. You are feeling the weight of entire lineages that strayed from their purpose. And now they try to drag you into the same abysses where they sank. You are the interruption of all this. You are the no that they never dared to say. You are the stop that no one had the courage to declare. That's why everything around you feels tight, uncomfortable, pressured, because the spiritual systems that once fed on silence are collapsing before your awakened consciousness. Some of those who observe you do not envy you out of malice, but out of weakness, because they saw in you what they could have been, but chose not to be. And now they resent you. They try to diminish you with looks, comments, ironies. They try to turn your intensity into arrogance, your protection into coldness, your firmness into isolation. But they don't know that what you carry requires silence, requires focus, requires constant vigilance, because your mission is not common. And those who lack vision will always try to diminish what they don't understand. But what is divine does not need validation. It only needs to be sustained. They created rituals, alliances, and entire structures to keep your consciousness asleep. They created versions of themselves that were easier to control, false reflections, characters you were supposed to play in order to remain acceptable in their eyes. But you broke the script. You stepped out of the role. You tore the mask, and that was unbearable. Because what you live now, Chosen One, is not just personal liberation. It's spiritual paradigm breaking. It's an entire hidden system losing power when you simply say, I am no longer that. And because they can't mold you anymore, they now try to label you. They want to tell you who you are. They want to reinterpret your story. They want to place filters on your journey, reduce your spiritual complexity to an emotional caricature. But you don't explain yourself. Not anymore. Because those who truly carry light have no time to justify their shine. Either they recognize it, or they move away. And those who insist on projecting, distorting, repeating broken narratives will get lost in them. Because your current vibration dissolves lies effortlessly, just by existing. The fallen soulmate tried to repeat in you what was done to it. It tried to turn pain into code, control into bond, and emptiness into ritual. But it didn't work. Because you saw what it couldn't see. That not all love is salvation, and that not every connection deserves continuity. And when you broke the cycle, it had to face itself, and it couldn't bear it. So it fled, and now it hides behind others, behind new bodies, new stories, new disguises. But the essence is the same, and you recognize it, because the spirit doesn't lie. And its spirit is still watching you. But what it didn't expect is that you're already beyond it. That the field where it operates no longer reaches you. That the traps that once held you now disgust you. That the emotional games that once seduced you now nauseate you. That the dependency it fed you with has turned into sovereignty. You didn't just leave, you sealed the exit. And now, Chosen One, the only way for it to approach you is by using others, by distorting symbols, by trying to reenact the same patterns in new clothes. But it all fails, because your current consciousness rewrites any cycle the moment it recognizes it. That's why everything feels more intense now. That's why the energies feel more aggressive, the trials more frequent, the battles more subtle. Because you are at the threshold. You are at the fold of the timeline where the chosen ones stop being victims and become judges, where your mere presence condemns, where your existence carries a verdict. And those who feed on illusion, they feel it. They feel that your frequency no longer accepts old agreements, that your spiritual signature has changed, that now you walk with heaven in your voice and judgment in your gaze. Chosen One, understand this. When the light matures, it becomes dangerous to those who only knew how to deal with you while you were shadow. Many didn't fear you. They feared your evolution. They endured your pain because it made them feel superior. They endured your vulnerability because they could control you. But when you began to heal, to shine, to no longer need them, They panicked. Because they lost control. Because they realized your essence no longer needed permission to exist. And those who see you free see themselves powerless. And those who see themselves powerless often choose to attack. That's why they try to reverse you, to bring back old feelings, old triggers, old characters, to push you back into the script you burned. They try to reopen healed wounds, revive connections already dead, trigger memories that no longer carry weight. But what they don't understand is that your field has changed. Your body is still the same, but your frequency is different. And what used to affect you now slides off. What once dominated you now makes you laugh. Because you are no longer in the field of survival. You are in the territory of sovereignty. And there, only those who have also cleansed themselves can enter. But this is where the most dangerous detail comes in. They know they can no longer dominate you from the outside. So now they try to enter from within. They use familiar voices, familiar phrases, old sensations. They create false feelings of guilt, responsibility, longing. They try to convince you that you're cruel, that you're isolating yourself, that you've lost your empathy. But it's not true. What you've lost is codependence. What you've cut off is access. And now that you no longer offer yourself up for sacrifice, they call you cold. But cold, chosen one, is who wanted you imprisoned just to warm themselves. Some of those who approach you now are carrying second-hand energies, burdens that were passed on spiritually as if handing over a load. They were initiated into pacts they don't even understand, and now they walk around as if they are normal. But you feel it. You see beyond the surface. You perceive it in their eyes, in the vibration, in the incoherence between their words and presence. These people don't know it, but they are contaminated. They are carrying the no you said, and that others couldn't accept. They are being used as bridges, but you no longer cross just any construction. And because you no longer cross any bridge, they started digging tunnels, more subtle forms, more emotional, more psychological, attempts to involve you through exhaustion, excessive stimulation, excessive presence. They try to create confusion just through accumulation, to place you in dense environments, in imbalanced relationships, in tasks that drain your soul. But all of this is part of the reversal strategy. They want you to forget who you are, to disconnect, to go back to living for others. But you've already left that spell. And what you've seen, you cannot unsee. Even when the attack seems emotional, it's spiritual. Because it's not about what is being said, it's about the vibration with which it's being said. It's not about the face. It's about the field. It's not about the gesture. It's about the hidden intention behind it. And you, chosen one, have developed eyes that see in the dark. Now, you see where you once only felt. You name what once only disturbed you, and that's why they want you blind again. That's why they want you to doubt yourself. Because your current spiritual vision is dissolving centuries of energetic control. Just by existing, you are rupture. You don't need to make noise. You don't need to react. Your presence already destabilizes the system. Your conscious breath already hurts the disguise. Your silence already screams truths that many wanted to keep buried. And this causes panic. That's why the sideways glances come. That's why the disguised invitations come. That's why the empty compliments come. It's all an attempt to seduce, to divert, to distract. But you've learned to distinguish gold from brass, the truth from the act, the mission from the play. And now, you will not return. Not because you cannot, but because you finally know what you deserve. They know they can no longer manipulate you through pain, so now they try to capture you through doubt. They plant small distortions, subtle phrases, spiritual innuendos. They make you question whether you're being too hard, too cold, too rational. But this is not discernment. It's programmed guilt, an implanted script to make you turn back. Because while you doubt, you weaken. While you hesitate, they get closer. But you've already surpassed that stage. And now, every step you take, you undo the control that maintained centuries of slavery, disguised as affection. And the most important thing, you are activating your lineage. You are calling back those who were forgotten. You are making your spiritual inheritance bloom again. That's why you feel the weight. That's why everything seems big, intense, challenging. Because you're not just carrying your life, you're cleaning stories, you're interrupting patterns, you're bringing forth truths buried by fear, shame, or convenience. And that's why many from your own family look at you with resistance. Because your freedom threatens the emotional prison where they feel comfortable. But you weren't made to fit, nor to please. You were made to transform. And every transformation carries a storm. You are the storm, the thunder that awakens, the lightning that reveals, the rain that cleanses. And even when they try to contain you, reduce you, erase you, you return with more strength. Because you are not just you. You are many. You are generations that chose to send you. You are destinies that trusted your integrity. And this cannot be cancelled by others' opinions. Those who recognize you in the spirit already feel it. And those who don't feel it no longer matter. That's why, even amid chaos, you remain. Even surrounded by falsehoods, you maintain your frequency. Even attacked, you no longer react as before. Because now you understand. Your energy is judgment. Your presence is sentence. And just the fact that you are where you are, being who you are, already reveals who the others are. And that's too much light for those who live off the darkness of others. But you didn't come here to please shadows. You came here to dissolve them. And with each firm step you take, a legion of lies crumbles in the silence. Dear chosen one, what is happening now is the reversal of the spell. It's the moment when the cycle breaks, and what was sent against you begins to return. Not as revenge, but as justice. Not as pain, but as a mirror. With every step, you refuse to take back. The invisible systems that manipulated you begin to crumble. Because now, even your shadow serves your light. Even your pain became a key. Even your past bows to the mission. And this is what disorients them. You used everything that was meant to break you as material to rebuild yourself. The being that once tried to possess you no longer has a home. The bond was severed. The permission was revoked. The spiritual permission has expired. And now, all that remains is a shadow trying to recreate a link that no longer exists. But you no longer belong to the frequency of need, guilt, or attachment. You belong to the frequency of truth. And the truth is that you are untouchable for those who refuse to change. You are inaccessible for those who haven't gone through their own desert. Because you bled, you silenced, you died inside, and yet you chose to live in light. And because you made that choice, now the entire sky supports you. Now your inheritance activates. Now the name that was silenced in your lineage rises in your voice, and those who try to accuse you fall before the glow that you no longer hide. This is redemption without a stage, victory without vengeance, authority without arrogance. You are returning to the throne you were born to occupy, and no matter how much they try to stop you, they can no longer, because the key is in you, and you've already turned the lock. What was locked for generations is now open. So, remain firm. Let them look at you strangely. Let them judge you in silence. Let them try to repeat the old tricks. You've already left the frequency where they operate, and now your task is to maintain the elevated vibration and continue accessing what is only yours. If you felt this message in your spirit, write the number 717 in the comments below to manifest to the universe that your vibration is aligned with the divine. Take this moment and leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to stay on top of everything. Also, don't forget to share this video with those who also need this message. To those who have truly supported this mission, my eternal respect and gratitude. If you wish to be our supporter, visit our Buy Me a Coffee page. The link is pinned in the first comment. Your support is essential to keep this channel alive. And if you want to continue this journey of revelation, now access the playlist with the deepest videos on spiritual battles, divine identity, and ancestral liberation. You are not alone, and you were born to win. We'll see you in the next video, and may justice follow your steps.